Hello everyone and welcome to another Unity C Sharp tutorial on the Crazy Unity Tuts channel. And in this video we're going to be looking at flipping the player. In the last video we looked at the idle animation and also the run animation. If you didn't check that video out, be sure to check it out. Alright, so in this video we are going to learn how you're going to flip the player left or right depending on the key we press. So in order to do that, first of all we open up the Unity hub, and then with the Unity hub open we open our project and wait for it to load. Okay, this loading is just a pain in the ass. Alright, so now with the character loaded, we now, from the last tutorial, we're able to ensure that the player can run. Yeah, so when we press the forward key, she moves forward. When we press the backward key, she moves back. But then the problem with this is that she doesn't flip when we press the back key, and that's just very bad. Because I mean, just imagine someone running backwards, like that's just going to be freaky. Be like, what the hell is wrong with you? You be like, yeah, I have eyes behind my head. Okay, so before we can do this, let's take a look at this. When we go to the skill of the player, and then we click inside, you can see that the scale is one on the x-axis, one on the y-axis, and one on the z-axis. So if you should go to the x-axis and then you go and you erase the one and put -1, you can see that the player has what flipped. And if you should erase the -1 and put 1, you can see that the player has flipped to the right again. So we're going to manipulate this in order to ensure that the player flips based on the key we press. So in order to start, let's open up our C sharp script. The player C sharp script attached to the game of this player. So you click on the player and then you double click on the script to open it up in the Unity Visual Studio Editor. Okay. Okay, I'm going to hit you one day if you don't stop all this long loading stuff. Okay, so now with the editor open, what we're now going to do is that we want to flip the player. So we're going to create, we want to know if our player is facing right or left. So we create a boolean. So create a boolean called private bool, and we call it facing right. You can call it whatever you want, but prefer to call it facing right for easy remembrance. And then if you go to our game, we can see that our player is facing right, so we can set this to true. So if your player is facing backwards, you can set yours to false. Equals true. Okay, and now with that done, we now create a function that will control that. So create a new function, void call flip, and then inside this function, we're going to define conditions for which the player will flip. So the first condition we're going to define is that if our horizontal key, our horizontal, which is this one we defined here, is greater than 0, and our player is not facing right, you can see that when you press the horizontal key, that is the right key, the horizontal is greater than 0. So if you should press that and our player is not facing right, then the player should flip to the right direction. Okay. Or if our horizontal is less than 0 and our player is facing right. So if our horizontal is greater than 0, that is, we are pressing the right arrow key and our player is not facing right, then that's a problem. So the player has to flip. Or if the horizontal is less than 0 and our player is facing right, that's another problem. If our horizontal is less than 0, it means you're supposed to be facing backwards, but our player is facing left. So that's a big problem. So with that, we want to manipulate the local scale of our player. So we'll say we want to access the transform that's attached to the player, and the transform contains the local scale. So we'll say this dot transform. So you can say transform dot local scale is equal to new vector 3. So I don't know, this is new Unity engine stuff. So you click on new Unit, you click on that one because when you usually use the vector 3, it gives you an error. I don't know why Unity is doing that. Probably just want some attention. So um so we want to, so what we'll do is that we'll take our local scale and we'll multiply it by -1 in order to flip the player. So we'll say our local scale transform, sorry, transform dot local scale dot x. They will multiply it by -1, and then we don't want to do anything to our y transform. So transform dot local scale dot y, or else if you should multiply that one to by -1, when your player flips in the left or right direction, her head would flip down to a ass position and her ass will flip to a head position, and you would know what you're doing, whether you're making a game or you're making a freak show. So transform dot local scale dot z. Okay, so now we're now done that, but then when we try to so we go into our update function and then we call the flip function, the flip method, sorry, the flip method. Good. So now with the flip method now called, let's now try it in the editor and let's see what actually happens. So when you try to run left, when you run right, she moves right. When you run left, you see what happens. This is happening because we are confusing the computer. Um, so when we try to change the direction, she's confused as to what to do because we didn't clearly define things here. The easiest way to fix this is that since the update function is called every frame, what we can do here is that you can come here and say facing right is equal to not facing right. So it means that what this line of code here means is that every frame facing right is changed from true to false, false to true, true to false, false to true. And since you always press the key every you press the key every frame, it just checks for these conditions, and then it also checks um it also tries to switch this one to be able to tally with what you are doing, so that the shaky sort of thing doesn't occur anymore. So that when you're pressing and one condition is satisfied, the computer just goes along with that condition until probably press something different, and then it changes in order to suit that condition. Okay, I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying, but then that's what actually goes on. So yeah. So now when you now try to play the game, and then you now move. She moves from flip right. She now flips right without trying to flip out of the scene. And now she moves left. She moves right, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you learned something new, and be sure to subscribe. Alright, and see you in the next video. Jobless.